Welcome back for our second of 4 videos on artificial intelligence. If you've not seen the first video, I would encourage you to watch that first. Just click on the card above or you can find a direct link in the description. Now, as we continue our conversation on AI, I want to look at it from our historical moral reality. And together, we will hopefully find a way to approach it for ourselves and maybe help guide the world's inevitable embrace of artificial intelligence. I think that it is a pretty universally agreed upon idea that people are inherently lazy. Now, I'm not saying that all people are lazy. I know that that's not true. My wife is most often the exact opposite of lazy. But as a whole, people can be lazy. We find ways to make every part of our lives easier. And when we can't, but we see that others can, that can make us frustrated or sad. See, this is our very nature. From a biblical perspective, we call that our sin nature, our nature that rebels against God and his desire for us to love him and be productive for his glory. So it doesn't surprise me when we always seem to find new ways to make life easier for us, but we may be about to take it a bit too far. In the early to mid 1700s, 2 guys, Thomas Newcomen and James Watt, separately developed and enhanced the design of the steam engine. Now, they didn't create the steam engine, they just made it better. These improvements made it possible to power machines and factories, bringing about the Industrial Revolution. Now, this is not the first technological evolution in history, but it had the biggest impact on the reality of the time. It was a game changer that led to the development of other technologies and in a direct way, eventually led to electricity, cars, planes, computers, and probably every other technology that you can think of. Now, artificial intelligence in the minds of those working on its development is the next logical step in technology. And from a purely academic standpoint, they're right, it is. But there's a reality with the practical application of AI that is inherently troubling. In fact, it's so intriguing and potentially troubling that authors from as far back as the late 1800s have used it in their stories, in books and movies like Isaac Asimov's I, Robot stories, William Gibson's book Neuromancer, Stanley Kubrick's movie 2001: A Space Odyssey, the Blade Runner movies, the Matrix movies, and even Disney's WALL-E. And those are just a few of the most well-known. There are so many more. Some of these stories and movies frame AI in a positive way, some more neutral, but I'd say the majority show AI as a potential threat to humanity. It would be easy to write that off as just being a plot device to create interest and excitement for a story, but I believe that there's more to it than just that. These creators of these stories and films knew something that I think we all know deep down inside, that we are all a bit narcissistic and, like I've already said, a lot lazy at heart. Well, maybe not all of us, but enough of us to make the rise of a maleficent, semi-sentient artificial intelligence a real possibility. Now, that may be a distant future thing, but in the here and now, there are concerns of a more practical nature, like AI replacing humans in the workforce, artificial intelligence replacing human artistic creativity in the arts, AI being the subject matter expert on things that matter most in life, like healthcare. When it comes to artificial intelligence and intelligent robotics replacing people in the workforce, that is already a real thing. It is already happening at some level, but it is happening, and it has happened before. So one of my favorite jobs that faded into oblivion was the knocker-upper. Now, in our modern context, the name is funny, but the job has almost nothing to do with getting a woman pregnant. So in Britain, when the Industrial Revolution started in the 19th century and on into the early 20th century, there was a need to get up and get to work at the factory on time. Most of the time, that was early in the morning. Now, most people in working class communities either did not have access to or could not afford an alarm clock. So they would pay a person to come to their home early every morning and use an array of different devices to knock on their bedroom window to wake them up. Sounds like an interesting job, kind of like an Uber Eats, or I guess like an Uber alarm. Once alarm clocks became affordable and widely available, this job quickly faded into history. Now, no one today is upset that the technology of an alarm clock replaced humans doing the work of waking up their neighbors. But at the time, for those people, they lost their jobs, their livelihood. It was a big deal to them. And to be honest, that was only one of many jobs and industries that had gone away over the course of history, all in the framework of advancing technology. So what makes the advance of AI more of an issue? Well, if you think about it, most of the technologies before artificial intelligence, they were all dumb tech. So there was still always a need for someone to man or use the new technology. Today, with increasingly efficient AI and intelligent robotics, that is no longer the case. This evolution may eventually no longer need human input or interaction. See, there is a moral component to this. The advancement of AI and our willingness to embrace it create a problem. We know what it means to adopt new technologies that has an impact on a group of people's livelihoods. We know what it means when an AI companion is developed for people who are lonely. There is a moral significance to the adoption of artificial intelligence, more so than any other technology we have ever adopted. I'd argue that that includes the atomic bomb and all of the nuclear technologies combined. Again, because as a people, we are inherently lazy, which means we will wholeheartedly adopt the easy over the hard, even when it is at our own peril, even when we know in the back of our mind what the moral implications are for us and for our society. So from my perspective, I believe that our moral reality and the rapid adoption of artificial intelligence simply cannot coexist. Something will have to give. Because when you look at the entirety of human history, easier is almost never meant better. And we have thousands of years of proof of that. So we have an innate desire as human beings to take the easy way out. It is built into the very code of our flesh. That code is at odds every day with the reality of who God made us to be in our spirit. We're to be like Jesus, a servant of all. But how do we do that? Well, we simply do the hard things. We love the unlovable. We serve the worthy and unworthy alike. We minister to all that have need. We work when others choose not to, and we create for the good of all. And then, at the end of the day, when we feel we can no longer do any more, we're told to be still and know that He is God. And that gives us peace in a world that is beating us down every day. But that is only the reality for those who believe in God and the finished work of Jesus on the cross. And unfortunately, that is not a belief that is shared by the majority of the world. So with that in mind, I honestly do think AI is here to stay. It is a part of our future, whether we like it or not. And we'll talk more about that future in the last video of this series. But for today, I want to encourage you to be unafraid of the future if AI is a scary thing for you. Because we don't know for sure what tomorrow brings. It might not be as bad as you think. And if artificial intelligence is exciting for you, I want to encourage you to consider more than the cool factor on the surface and maybe dig a bit deeper. It may not change your opinion, but it may help you understand the concerns of others a bit better. When we do the work of showing sympathy and compassion for others, that is part of what makes us human. And as humans, we can join together and go, create, and be a blessing. You can support our channel by subscribing, hitting that bell icon to get notified when new content comes out, and liking our videos. If you'd like to consider supporting our team financially, there's a link in the video description with more details. Those things will help our channel for sure, but if you do nothing else, please spend some time in the comments of our videos encouraging one another to create, to help others create, and to help grow that creative nature within us all. Oh, and you can check out these videos too. Thanks. We'll see you again soon.